Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? The Devils defeat the Detroit Red Wings. Final score 4-3. A gutsy win for the New Jersey Devils here at the Prudential Center. I think they still haven't lost in regulation at home this season. But I'm Ryan Novozinsky joining you right here from the Prudential Center Media Room. Again, Devils win. I can't talk about this until I know that we are live, but I think we are. And I'm just doing a little quick check here. We are live. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Speaking of the Devils. We are talking once again about another gutsy win for the New Jersey Devils. They snapped that three-game losing streak that they had. And tempers flaring there at the end between them and the Red Wings. Tempers flaring all game, really. Started with that cheap shot on Nico Hischier early there in the first period. Not even 2 minutes into the game, and Nico Hischier took an ugly hit near the penalty box. Went down the tunnel, appeared to be injured, but ended up being okay. Came back into the game, came back and scored a goal, but a very dirty hit there from JT Compher. Yeah, not a good sequence to start the game, but the Devils end up, they score in droves after that. Okay, they got the Timo goal, the DeBrincat goal, let in kind of a softie there. It was brutal rebound attempt. The rebound control was kind of the story for Jacob Markstrom tonight. Beyond that was like the negative side of Markstrom. The positive side of Markstrom was that he made a lot of excellent saves, and he was in a large part of what the Devils did in that game. A large part of the reason the Devils won that game, I should say. And then the Devils just turned it off from there. Nico Hischier scores. Cody Glass in his first game back scores. He keeps doing that. He's done that quite a bit this year, where he comes back from injury and immediately scores. Then you get the James Van Riemsdyk goal, the Connor Brown goal, Emmett Finney, and that kind of rounded it out for the Devils. Dylan Larkin scored there as well, but the Devils held on and won it 4-3. Their record right now, I'm pulling it up right now, I believe they're 14-7-1. So a good start for them, obviously, to this season and managing through and being able to snap that losing skid. But let's dive into the questions, shall we? Let's kind of just get right into it, guys, because I don't really, there's not many things that you really need to glean from that win other than, the Devils had a nice little physical response. In the face of adversity early on, your captain goes down, Stefan Nason steps up, and that's one of those plays where you take the penalty there. You're going to risk not going on the penalty kill there to stand up to your captain. I thought that was nice to see. Thought it was nice to see at the end there. I mean, you have the what a lot of people are considering to be a cheap shot there from Jonas Siegenthaler, and I understand. Yes, the puck was nowhere near there, so I understand that perspective there, but. As Siegenthaler put so eloquently after the game, he thought that there was maybe a little bit of acting there from who was it there at the end? I want to say no, it wasn't Dylan Larkin. It was Raymond. It was Lucas Raymond that he laid that hit on. So let's get right into the comments here. Kevin Inspire starts off with just throwing out some Devils emojis. There you go, Kevin. Tyler Seba says just having Glass back as 3C makes this team seem more in sync. I thought so too. And again, it was really nice to see him get on the score sheet. He did that last time too. He comes back from injury, immediately scores. There's some offensive pop to his game this year that I cannot stress that enough. Cody Glass is having an awesome year offensively. I'd have to pull up his numbers right now. But I think, again, I said this a billion times on this show, but the billing on him entering the season is, okay, he's just, he's a good defensive forward and that's kind of it. No. His offensive game is awesome. I mean, that goal, I know it was kind of a tip in, but he's had some really, head turning goals this year, and he's got 5 of them on the season. So really strong start for him offensively. You got to love to see that. And I think, in the defensive end too, he's really, great player there as well. Adding him to the mix just shores up the lineup, just makes everything kind of in sync, and I think you like to see that from Cody Glass. Tyler Seba again says, who does Pesce play with when he returns? I'm enjoying the Luke Nemitz pairing, but Luke and Pesce work good together. They sure do. I don't see how you can break up this Luke Nemitz pairing, though. I'm going to bring you the numbers that they had in the first period. I'd have to get the updated numbers, and I'll pull those up in a second here. But just in that first period alone, they were on the ice for 2 of those goals. They out-attempted the Wings 11-2. They outshot them 4-1. They out high danger chanced them 4-0. And they controlled the expected goals percentage share, 87.05%. That was in the first period. Really strong start for them, for sure. And they finished strong as well. Let me just pull up their numbers here according to Money Puck. Defensive pairings. Oh my God, of course, the thing freezes right now. Hughes and Nemitz on ice expected goals for 1.2225. Awesome. On ice goals for 3. On ice goals against 1. On ice shot attempts for 23. On ice shot attempts against 26, but that doesn't fit the agenda, so I can't really say that. I'm joking. I thought Detroit actually had a really good game too. Devils in a lot of ways were kind of outplayed tonight. So the offensive zone, Detroit had a really strong night for them. But I'm not going to say that Nemitz-Luke pair was the reason, for that. I thought they, were just in spurts tonight, just had excellent showing, and they've been awesome the past couple of games that they've been together. Keefe has found a pair there. I don't see how you could break that up. The only reason that you would do that is the argument that Tyler brings up here is that Pesce, is so great with Luke. So maybe you try to shake it up in that regard, but I don't know. I don't know what you end up doing there. It's a good question there, Tyler. It's one we're going to have to figure out when he gets back here. Rick Roma says, held on for dear life, but a W is a W. At this point, look, with all these injuries that we talk about so much, that the team has faced this year, you got to take that at this point. A W is a W, a hard-fought win. And you know what? In that game had shades of a playoff game, too. You'll take that. You'll take that against a Detroit team that, quite frankly, is off to a really good start themselves this year. So this isn't one of those kind of fluky wins. Is that Detroit team sustainable? I don't know. I feel like they're kind of full of a lot of players that are just really aging veterans, to put it mildly. I don't know if they're sustainable, but for right now, what their record is right now, I think that's a good win. Andrew Kalor, love to see the fight tonight all game. Physical and stood up for each other, hard-fought win. How about that little scrum at the end? I guess it all stemmed from... I guess it did stem from that Raymond hit, because Siegenthaler was involved in a lot of that. But great to see even Markstrom get involved there at the end. He was exchanging blows. You guys can find the full video of the full scrum there on the YouTube page, which you guys should subscribe to. Like and subscribe to. Speaking of the Devils, we do this after every game, folks. We have a guest on every week. We bring you some of the best guests in all of hockey on the show. And we go live after every breaking news and after every game, as we mentioned. So please be sure to like and subscribe. But yeah, you can see the full video here on the YouTube page. The fight all tonight was great. Again, to see the team respond that way after Nico takes that just dirty hit there from JT Compher. And then there was the other one on Nemitz where he kind of got butt ended there too. Or was that the end of the second? It was either the second or the third. Can't remember right now, but I thought there was an injury scare for Nemitz there too. He goes down the tunnel too, and the Devils have a nice little they exchange shoves, exchange blows after that as well. So you like to see that. Rick Roma says also major props to Siegs on that cheap shot on Raymond. Wings fans could cry about it, but their team was playing dirty all game. Eye for an eye, baby. Yeah, I tend to agree, and I think that look. Siegenthaler's, there was a little bit less risk to that too. He said it after the game. I'll say this, like he said it after the game, and I understand there was almost certainly a missed call there. Like let's not look at this with Devils colored glasses or anything. There was definitely a missed call. The puck was nowhere near there. But I'm kind of on the side of Rick Roma there. There was a little bit of an eye for an eye situation there. One and two. Bit of overacting there from Lucas Raymond, so I don't know, but that's how Siegenthaler described it. So I'll just let him go find that clip of him talking after the game. He has an interesting quote there about the Lucas Raymond hit there when I asked him about just kind of his vantage point there. Andrew Kalor, cheap shots by Detroit all game. Have to believe the league will find Sherratt for the spear on Nemitz. I would think so too. You even saw there, who was it that on the JT Comfort hit on Nico, had shades of that Rantanen hit as well. Not great, not great there at the beginning. We're kind of like wincing in the press box up there, wondering like, all right, the Devils have already had so many injury woes this year. What's next? How long is Nico going to be out? Thankfully, he comes back in the game, and everything was ended up being okay. But that was a scary moment there for the Devils. And yeah, certainly, I would expect to see Sherratt. There would have to be some sort of fine there because that was bad. That was got the spear there and then butt ended there. I can't remember exactly. My point of view in the press box was very high, so I had to check the replay out there. But yeah, not great. Andrew Kalor again, hell of a game for sure. Andrew, Devils improved to get their 14th win of the year. And they stay hot at home. They stay hot at home. Sheldon Keefe had an interesting factoid at the end there in his press conference. He told us that this was the Devils in 10 games this year have not had a third period lead a lead entering the third period. So they had one tonight, and they finished strong there. So that was that's just an eye popping stat. I always said like if Sheldon Keefe is more critical of this team than anybody than I could ever be. He wants to win more than anybody, and he'll look at this team with a critical eye to the point where he's even telling us statistics like that in the postgame presser. So I thought that was interesting. Andrew Kalor, Markey looked like the 1A that we need. Must have been the new mask. Yeah, it really must have been. That was a sweet new mask one. Let's pull up the nerd numbers as we usually do for Markstrom. These are courtesy of Money Puck, everybody. Markstrom tonight. I thought it was an awesome game from him. Rebound control was a little, it was kind of wonky there from Markstrom. At times, you saw some of the rebound chances. You're again wincing on them. But he stopped 2.74 above expected tonight. So you gotta give Markstrom the credit that he deserves. And I'll tell you what, like he had some sprawling saves as well. I'm gonna pull up my notes here. In the third period alone, he had this really, really clutch sprawling save on Patrick Kane near the end. And then with 10.6 seconds to go, great save again on Patrick Kane. 10.6 seconds to go, saves the game for the Devils. Markstrom was awesome tonight. Again, the rebound control, work on that a little bit, pal. Work on that a little bit. But he even admits, like, it's just good to get back in the win column. It's good to get, he was, kind of played a coy in the post game when asked about his performance, what this could do for his confidence. And you understand that goalie is, goalies are kind of voodoo, right? But Markstrom, I think it's undeniable that this will help him get his confidence back. A game like that, there were some lowlights again on that rebound control. And at times you feel like you just have to outscore Markstrom. But he saves the day at the end, and I think that's what he needs to hang his mask on. Rick Roma, Detroit media and fans are weird, clutching their pearls about Sieg's hit, but nothing about the spear on Nemitz and Nico hit. I think you're just going to see that a lot from media and fans. A lot of people are going to defend their team, and rightfully so. I think though the hits that Detroit had tonight were pretty indefensible. The Siegenthaler hit wasn't great. I think it was a missed call. I don't think it was the end of the world, though. And again, I think there was some acting there towards at the end with Lucas Raymond, but that's neither here nor there. Ask Siegenthaler. He's the one that said it, not me. Rick Roma, I don't like complaining after W, but Luke has to clean it up, and Palat has to finish. Okay, no more complaints. Complain away, Rick, because I think there were still some things that the Devils need to clean up tonight. The things you mentioned, sure. And that Palat, the Palat breakaway, that perfectly sums up, just how inept offensively he's been in his stint with the Devils. The fact that they're paying him $6 million a year is brutal. It's not paid off at all. I don't care what little things you look at with this player. It will never be worth the $6 million per year. That breakaway goal that he got, you just knew, even if it's a breakaway goal, that if it's on Palat's stick, it's just not going to go in. That's just, the kind of offensive player that he is at this point. It's bad. It's really bad. Kevin Inspire, much needed win. Much needed win indeed. Look, the Devils through their first 18 games, they only had 4 regulation losses. You did not want to lose 4 games in a row because that would have been the true mark of, oh man, this team without Jack Hughes, they're in trouble. When are they going to win again? They get it done tonight. They snap that skid. Really, really key win for the Devils tonight. Again, against a good Detroit team, a Detroit team that is, I'm going to pull up the standings here. They're first place in that tough, tight Atlantic Division. 13-9-1, 27 points for them. I guess they're actually in second place now because Tampa won tonight too. So they're in second place in the Atlantic, which is tight right now. Not necessarily good teams in that division, but certainly a tight there. It's a team in playoff position that you got to win against, so you'll take it any day of the week. Mike Quinn says we are live. Okay, so I'm very behind on these. Andrew Kalor, defense a bit lackadaisical in our own zone tonight. We need to do better on faceoffs there at the end. Devils have had a faceoff problem all year, and I would agree with you, Andrew, that there were defense was a bit shaky there at the end. That's when you see, I mean, the Luke and Nemitz pairing was so dominant at the beginning, but then you look at the metrics and it's like, okay, maybe the attempts against and the shots against, they kind of went the other direction, sort of there. But I thought overall, it was just a gutsy win for the Devils, and even with some defensive woes and just soft plays in the D zone at the end there, I think it was good for them to get it done, for them to squeak that out. Easy. 0922. I think you're just easy. I don't know what's going on with YouTube lately where it's just giving you the ats, but that's just easy. That's the best way to win. I don't know about best for this Devils team because you would have liked them to be a little bit more statistically dominant on the night. They didn't get it done in that department tonight, but they snuck away with the win. So a win is a win, easy. So you'll take it any day of the week. Jay Snow, that effort was not nearly good enough again. Yeah, that's the kind of dichotomy of this game. It's like, all right, you do squeak away with the win, but you do need to clean things up. Again, I will reiterate, I think that some of their defensive zone play at the end there, very soft, very soft. Clean that stuff up, start cycling a little better in the ozone, and you'll be fine. I mean, I think even shots disparity-wise tonight, the Devils didn't even put up a lot of shots, really. Sorry, I'm just pulling it up right here. Of course, the NHL site doesn't have the shots up. No, they do. 35-19 in favor of Detroit tonight, so you want to see the offense kind of, get better opportunities there, but once again, a win is a win. But as Jay Snow says, the effort, it was shaky at times. Nick Santola, sup Novo, much needed win tonight. Don't think I'm going to make it to the end of the stream tonight, but wanted to tune in for a little bit. Well, thank you, Nick, for tuning in, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you are new here, please be sure to like and subscribe. We do this after every game. We have a blast. Patrick Booth, why wasn't there a responsible... Oh, my gosh. Okay. I heard the name Tate McRae tonight more times than I've ever heard anybody else's name in that press box. Tate McRae was the star of the show tonight. I don't know if that's confirmed, if it was Tate McRae or not. It certainly sounds like it was. It certainly looks like it was. But I heard her name a lot tonight in the press box. I'll just say that. My man Noah, I owe you a text back. I have been off the past couple days. I am sorry about that, my friend. I will text you back as soon as this stream is over. This game was opposite day. Not as many shots, but many goals for. A lot of shots against, but many saves. The hate has been deserved, but I'm happy for Markstrom. Hope this play continues. Yeah, you got to hope, Markstrom rides the momentum of this game. And I'm with you on the shots. Like, again, it was 35-19 in favor of Detroit. I'll pull up the nerd metrics here as well. Shot attempts, 59-48. So Devils got a lot of shot attempts there tonight. High danger chances were an even 11-11. So that's interesting there. But I'll tell you what, at one point it was like I think it was 8 shots. The Devils had 3 goals and 8 shots there in the first. So taking advantage of it. And you know what, too? Learning the fact that you get there and you get in front of the net and you tip them in and they'll go in. And you get the best opportunity to pot goals that way. So that was really nice to see. Let's kind of go through some of these goals, actually. I'll get this question out of the queue while I just go over these. The Timo goal. Look, Timo coming in tonight, just 3 goals in his past 17 games. He's now on a two-game goal streak. I thought Timo was awesome tonight. I thought you saw some nastiness from him as well. I thought you saw some physical responses from him. Great showing from Timo tonight. Great for Nason to get the primary assist there as well. It was his first point in nearly a month, and he's got 2 on the season. And that was just a beauty all around. So great goal from Timo to get it in, and again right in front of the net. The DeBrincat goal, brutal rebound there. Hamilton, bad effort there from Hamilton. He was covering ghosts instead of covering DeBrincat. Defensive lapse from him. And the Devils, you just need to clear the damn zone more. I mean, that's just been a big problem, and something that's been affecting the team a lot lately. The Nico goal, insane sequence from Bratt and Timo and Heischer. I love to see that. And a little revenge goal from Nico after that JT Compher hit. And again, nice to see Timo heating it up because that was just an awesome feed there. Cody Glass in his 3rd return from injury this season. He scored last time he came back from injury, and he tips one in. Another tip-in goal from the Devils. Great to see that. Great to recognize that the closer you are, the more likely it is to go in. Keep that up. Keep that up. Connor Brown, and what an effort there from Dawson Mercer on the Connor Brown. Hustled hard on the forecheck. Kind of like trickled the puck along the boards, but it was an awesome bounce there, and Brown pounces on it, and that was really nice to see. So the Devils, great effort, and I like to see some of their goals tonight. So that was good. Let's move on in the comments. Let's see. This team needs to be harder to play against. We can't live in the D zone all the time. Yeah, and especially with some of the play in the D zone, it's been lackluster. So I would agree with you there, Jay Snow. But I'll say this, like with the injuries that you have, I know you want the team to be better, and I know you want the team to be better equipped to sustain these injuries. But I mean, it's just been such bad luck in that department this year. I think tonight was a gutsy win for them, despite none of the analytics really looking sharp in their favor, and the shot differential certainly not looking sharp in their favor. I think you're going to take that when you have a lot of these injuries, and it's nice to see that when Cody Glass gets back in the lineup, the offense kind of pops a little bit and starts finishing these chances. I thought that was a promising sign. Easy says, that's the best way to win. Can we get this fight and energy every game? I think you're referencing just like, kind of the physical fighting aspect of it. And I would agree with you there. That's fun to see. You want the team to be more structured, as Jay Snow mentions up there. You want them to look better in the D zone, and you want them to start generating offense a little bit, more consistently, so that you're not having to rely on, these fight, these tight physical games to win. I know it's exciting from a fan's perspective, but it's more sustainable to see a team, have a strong offensive system and look good in all 3 zones. The Devils didn't look like that tonight, but again, they still squeak out a win, so that's good to see. Jay Powell says, hearing the Devils will be replacing Rogalski with Shane Bowen. Please advise Novo. Oh man, that would be bad. Shane Bowen, not a great defensive coordinator for the Giants. Obviously, gets fired today, and that's what Jay Powell is referencing. God bless whatever team hires him next. I'm a Patriots fan. I bet you that the Patriots are going to end up hiring him because of the Mike Vrabel connection, and I am just treading that. Hopefully, he's not hired as the defensive coordinator. That's all I got to say. Jay Snow, they need more jam in this lineup badly. And then you say right here, I would pay the price for Kadri. I would too. That's one of the names that I referenced in my newsletter today. You guys can go subscribe to that. We're on NJ.com's newsletter page. I'll tweet it out after this stream goes live. But yeah, I would expect the Devils to be in on names like Kadri, on names like Ryan O'Reilly. Those are the 2 ones that stick out just because they're always kind of involved in rumors. I think it would be great. I think it would not only shore up the depth, but it would allow you, to get kind of some of that nastiness, and to, when Jack gets back, like they could be strong in your lineup when Jack isn't here, and then when Jack gets back, like you push all these guys, you push the center depth all down 1. Cody Glass is your 4C, Kadri's your 3C. Awesome. You take that any day of the week. That would be great. That's a Stanley Cup caliber lineup right there. Andrew Kalor, if we can just get into December, we should be getting a few more guys back healthy. Time to go on a run. Yeah, I've said the past couple of streams that this team is going to get healthier soon, and things are going to start looking a little bit more promising. When Pesci gets back, things are going to, that these soft defensive zone miscues that I talk about, I think those are going to be a thing of the past. They're still going to happen, sure, but they're going to happen a whole heck of a lot less because Pesci coming back. I mean, look, we've already seen like he's kind of proven to be one of the most valuable players in this team just by happenstance of his injury and what's gone down since he has gone down. So we'll see. I agree with your assessment there. Excuse me, that once some of these other guys get back, Devils are already starting to get a little bit healthier. Once Pesci and Jack come back, watch out. Jay Snow, Covey, another guy that I forgot to mention. Covey is much needed with his size and grit on the back end. I would agree there. And just the ability, his play next to Siegenthaler, what he's going to unlock there, I think that's going to be such an underrated aspect of this season. The question is going to be who the hell goes out. I think injuries or, knock on wood injuries. You don't want it to be injuries, but I think usually these things kind of sort themselves out in that regard. Or do we start to see a trade here at some point soon? Do we see, like, at some point there, it's Fitzgerald said that 2026 is, we're not going to see Kovacevic until 2026. That's fine. At some point, is it going to be in early 2026 that we see, the Dougie Hamilton trade? Are they going to pull the trigger there? I don't know what's going to end up happening, but you're going to have to do something to shake up this lineup, and you're not going to take Nemitz out, certainly. Jay Snow's asking Andrew Kalor a question. Patrick Booth says, I don't think the Devils possessed the puck for more than 3 continuous seconds at any point after the first period. Spent the last 40 minutes chasing the puck and hoping Markstrom made the save. Markstrom was the difference maker tonight. I would agree with you there. And I think that, you saw this last game as well. Obviously, I wasn't covering last game, but I did, watch it kind of in and out there. You saw a bit of a pop in the first, and then you saw the team decline afterwards. You want to see some, you use the word continuous. Yes, I agree with you there. You want to see some continuous effort there, some consistent effort there, all 3 periods and in all 3 zones. Let's see if we can, if the Devils can get that next game, great. But yeah, again, the win tonight you'll take, but I just didn't think that it was that great of an effort for the team tonight. I thought you saw the physicality, and I thought that was a good spirited win for the team, but you want to see it a little bit more consistent because you can't really rely. Markstrom's proven all season you can't really rely on him to make saves. Maybe this is the start of the turnaround. If maybe we'll look back and say, all right, that Red Wings game was the first game where Markstrom really turned it around, and that'll be great story. But you can't rely on that, so you got to play crisper in front of him. Jay Snow, it's a problem the Devils don't maintain enough ozone time. They're below league average, and they spend way too much in the D zone. And that's such a surprise to Jay Snow because this team was such an analytically sound ozone team over the past couple of years. They almost were, kind of the analytical darlings over the past couple of years. So it's interesting to see, that kind of take a dip this season, especially. Or you mentioned it, and I know that the team is injured right now. But the fact that they are in the bottom half there in ozone possession time in Corsi is a shock. And you want to look, the fact that they have the record they have right now is quite impressive considering all those metrics. Patrick Booth, would be nice to get Curtis McDermott on the team before we play Detroit again. No, Patrick, no. You made that mistake once, don't make that mistake again. Devils down under. This is my man Damien. I know that. That was refreshing to see Markey make some clutch save and ultimately secure the win, as he has been under a lot of heat lately. Yeah, and again, I asked him after the game, what can a game like that do for your confidence? And he deflected it right back on the team, just basically saying, look, it's just good to get back in the win column. And that's fine. You'll take that from Markstrom. That he's kind of playing it coy, and that's fine. But that's a game that he can hopefully ride momentum on. If you're a Devils fan, we'll see what ends up happening with him. Jay Snow, we need another forward who will play on the edge. Yeah, no, I mean that would be a good ad. I mean, I know you mentioned Kadri before. I think that's one of those guys that like would add sort of that edge to the game. And kind of get this offense going a little bit in addition to, playing with a little bit of grit and sandpaper there. I think that's a perfect add. You're suggesting there of Nazem Kadri, I think would definitely do that. Wingnut, we have a Red Wings fan in here. Markey stood on his head tonight. He sure did, Wingnut. Again, I'll pull up the numbers once more. He stopped 2.74 above expected according to Money Puck. That is ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Jay Snow says, when do you think we'll see trades start around the league? It's a good question. Sorry, my light went out there. I think it's not charged. I'm having a terrible lighting situation of late. When do I think they'll start? It's so weird because it's so unpredictable in the NHL because I think it won't be until the new year. I think it'll probably be sometime in February. That's usually when you start to see, sometime late February before the trade deadline. Maybe that's, oh no, there's the Olympics this year. Maybe there's a pre-Olympic rush. Maybe there's a pre-Olympic rush to get trades in. I would love to see that. I know fans would love to see that. I don't know if GMs are going to appease us in that way. So I would say maybe it'll either be right before the Olympics. Maybe we'll see some trades there, or you'll get a flurry of them right after. But pulsing the league, look, I just think that there's a lot of parity right now. Some of the teams, Vancouver specifically, are starting to spiral into chaos. So maybe you start to see some fire sale there. I'm not saying that that'll be the Quinn trade, but maybe. I don't know. It's a really good question. I just know how terribly inactive the whole league was this offseason. You saw that in the results, and you saw that even behind the scenes. People across the league always tell me how quiet the league was even behind the scenes this year. So it's an interesting conversation to have. We'll see what ends up happening. But I would imagine that it would be, you might start to see some start before that Olympic break, and then you'll see a flurry of them afterwards. Guys, that'll do it for the stream tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in to Speaking of the Devils. Please be sure to like, subscribe, share the link, tell your friends. I will be off next game. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I have a lot of PTO days to burn. If I don't use them, I will lose them. And that's just one of those things. It's company policy. We have to burn them. So I'm going to be, out tomorrow's practice. I'm going to be out for the Wednesday game. I will be returning. I will be working a Friday game. So please be sure to tune in after that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day, everybody.